Welcome to another episode of Sellout Sundays. I'm Carl Edwards, also known as Carly Vlogs Online. And this Sellout Sundays is our third episode, and we happen to find ourselves on the road this time. I have the gentleman here, Ali Mogdad, with me from Creative Animals. You've been running your business now for a few years.
Yeah.
And you started off as an independent creative creator,
Yes.
right? So you've gone from hustle to extreme hustle, shall we
Doesn't
put
end.
it?
Yeah.
And so this episode is not the typical episode. For any of you that have been following Sellout Sunday so far, it's been more about successful influencers, online business owners, people that are being successful online, your bloggers, etc. So we can share that content with you and their tips and tricks. I also want to have this platform so we can talk to industry professionals and go through news, updates, just general dialogue, create some dialogue and have discussion with industry pros, because today's topic, definitely controversial for sure. You already know what it is, because I had to brief you on it, because we've got a certain amount of integrity that we are going to have to maintain to a degree, but I don't want us to be too limited, because I want to get into the nitty gritty of it. So without further ado, that topic is actually the creative industry, getting paid, which is a big one and a very taboo kind of topic. Everyone kind of tries to avoid talking about it. And then...
well, money is a sensitive topic,
It
especially
is.
in this culture, right?
Yeah, but it shouldn't be, because in the end, we've all got to get paid. And
Absolutely.
there are some nasty people out there with bad intentions.
Absolutely.
And that's
But
small.
I think that's everywhere. But we'll get into that, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So on that note, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break these episodes down into 3 segments. I've learned a lot from the last 2, so thank you to Nadine and Charbel for helping me start this and coming on as guests. I've learned a lot since then, and so has anyone that's been following and tuning into these shows. I've learned a lot from them. So what I've learned is I'm going to break this down into 3 segments. For you guys that are watching on Instagram TV, we're going to keep it to 10 minutes, because let's face it, your attention span on Instagram is not going to be that great. So I'm going to give a quick plug-in for you guys on Instagram now. We'll start off like this. Focus, Sony. Thank you.
Carl's a man of many wonders here.
Here we go. Right. Welcome everyone on Instagram TV. This is Sellout Sundays. I'm Carl Edwards, also known as Carly Vlogs Online. For anyone that's been watching these Sellout Sundays shows so far, you know what they're about. For those that haven't, it is a show where I discuss an open dialogue with successful influencers, online business owners, industry professionals and experts, and go through news, topics and updates. So for a better viewing experience, if I can get all you guys to turn your devices this way, because we do like to film video in a landscape format. We got some people on.
So what do you do?
online
Did you cut that up and put it on
Yes.
IGTV?
Yeah, you'll see, because
that's cool.
You'll see as I go like that,
Yeah.
everyone else will tend to do it at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen it
naturally.
before. You've done it in your first episode.
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
cool.
inspiration from that was actually Danny Neville. So thanks, Danny Neville, for showing me that one.
Danny
Yeah.
Neville.
Okay, let's get into the meat of this topic.
Okay.
I've given you an introduction.
Yeah.
Our relationship is we worked on it, so we're both working in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, so I'm Ali Mogdad. I guess I'll introduce myself really quickly. I'm Ali Mogdad. I'm hello camera number 1.
Yeah.
I'm Ali Mogdad. I'm a creative
Animal.
creative animal. I'm a creative professional here in Dubai. I started as a copywriter. I have an advertising background. I've been in the industry for about 15 years now. I started advertising agency style work, a lot of script writing, a lot of brand development, a lot of brand building. And as you do as a creative individual, you just evolve. So over time, I started moving more towards film, more towards production. And as you see now, the content creation world is really developing, evolving, and it's a large part of everyone's marketing and business objectives. So 2 years ago, I was let go from my job in the advertising industry.
Right.
2 weeks before my wife was about to give birth to our first child. So that was a bit of a reality check for me. And I started freelancing.
And a congratulations in order
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, and I just had another baby boy, so thank you so much, sir. So we have 2 creative animals now. Well, technically we have 4 because my wife's part of the business. So yeah, I was freelancing at the time, and I found myself in a bit of a rut because I didn't know what the future was going to hold, and I kind of fell on this whole content creation thing, and I think that's where we met.
Yeah.
We met on the set of Dubai Shopping Festival, I think.
Dubai
it
Shopping
was.
Festival, yeah, for Dubai Tourism, yeah.
For Dubai Tourism.
And that was
great,
fun.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. I mean, we had a great relationship from the start, and it was fun. We did a lot of great projects there. We worked on that for like, 3 months, 4 months. Then we moved on to the food festival. We did that for another couple of months. Then we did a couple more projects, Galerie Lafayette, Unilever's Beauty Bar. There's so many jobs from there. So then we built a nice rapport, and that's a beautiful thing about our industry is we get to meet a lot of other like-minded creative individuals, right?
So did you jump into a business straight after your corporate job?
No, I was freelancing for a bit, and I was meddling with this idea of building a business. I just didn't know how to start. Entrepreneurship scared the shit out of me. I didn't know if I could sustain it because, when you have a baby boy to look after and a wife to look after and a lot of other people relying on you, it's a scary thing. You're not a bachelor. You don't have to deal with your studio apartment with your minimalist lifestyle. There's a different dynamic there. So
Yeah, it's a big bridge to step over, isn't it?
it's a massive bridge to step over. And, people look at this entrepreneurship lifestyle and they just see the glamour of it. But the reality is there's a lot of work. There's a lot of hours you put in. There's a lot of time away from your family. There's a lot of stress. People are relying on you. People are relying on salaries to be paid. There's office rent to be paid. I mean, it's just this constant cycle. And I always say this, people never understand it, but I always say this. I say entrepreneurship is the loneliest job in the world because you're always in your head and no one understands it but you.
No one. Yeah. Not even other entrepreneurs. They're doing their own thing. They're in their own game.
Yeah, everyone's in their own game. So yeah, I kind of stumbled on it in Dubai Shopping Festival. I just started my company, Creative Animals, and we were contracted to do the creative aspect of the production. So we did all the script writing, all the content development, and then the post-production was done by another company named Magnet, which I still have a great relationship with. But we were contracted to basically do the day-to-day stuff and the scripting and the creative conceptualization part of it, which is what we still do. But now our job is, now we do a turnkey solution. So we don't just do the scripting, the storyboarding, and the conceptualizing. We also do the post-production as well, which has been a major development over the last year for us.
And you'll do hiring as well and outsourcing of freelancers and stuff like that, right?
Oh, all the time.
Right.
I mean, when you're a small business, you're trying to cut corners, right? You don't have the cash flow that an organization like a multi-million dollar or multinational has, which is like, okay, I can hire like 4 freelancers, or, I'm going to hire a full-time guy. No, we can't do that, right? Like, we go based on what our cash flow is, and our cash flow is very limited as an SME. So we rely heavily, not only on our payments to be on time, but our cash flow to sustain itself at a certain level.
And if those payments aren't on time?
You're in a world of trouble, aren't you? And I think a lot of people are in a world of trouble right now.
I get that feeling as well.
Yeah.
There's that vibe that's going around where the climate of the market is a little bit. We have our audio guy Simon over here as well, and we've had this discussion a couple of times where the market's been a bit slow.
Yeah.
Everyone's feeling the pain.
There is a massive decrease, and I know I'm noticing it. I know I'm not the only one that's noticing it. I got a lot of friends in the industry, a lot of guys and girls that are working in multinationals and advertising agencies and media houses and production houses. And there has been a slight decrease in 2017 versus 2016. I mean, this time in 2016, we were billing about 200 to 300,000, in our sales, and this year we're probably doing about half of that.
Whoa, that's significant.
Yeah,
drop.
in the last quarter, you always want to close strong.
Yeah.
You really want to close strong in your last quarter. It's your last quarter. It's your last hustle. It's your last push. So you want to shut down your books by December, knowing that you have done everything you can to close down your year. So we're hustling really hard to get that last bit of business.
Well, that's
and
the
we
key
know
word here,
that,
isn't it?
Sorry?
That's the key word here, is the hustling part,
Yeah.
which is what we're going to go deeper into.
Yeah. But what I wanted to finish on is to say that, like, the last quarter, clients have a little bit of budget left. So they need to spend it, otherwise they lose it. So something I'm finding a bit weird is that clients are not spending this money. So I don't know if they've got, maybe something from the higher ups saying hold that money, or if they just don't have it, or maybe it's a budget restriction thing. But the biggest thing that I'm noticing in this year is that the jobs are not coming in like they were last year, which is a bit concerning. But I'm optimistic.
I'd like to link to that. I think it's a very important thing to cover in that in itself is budgets are being held, or people are just not spending. We can all definitely feel that. Okay, I'll give you my opinion. I can definitely feel that from how I've observed the creative industry. Now, the way that things are flipped from commercial, or let's say traditional media, to let's say social media. Everything is for social media these days. I would say 99.9% of my bookings, the end result is to be hosted on Facebook, or it's something to be built on YouTube, or a YouTube ad. Very rarely does it get put to the TV stations these days.
Yeah, but why would it, right?
Exactly. The audience is online now.
Absolutely.
Right. But why should the budgets be slashed because of that?
That's a very, very good question, and it's a conversation I have with a lot of people all the time. See, there's this ideology right now, and I think part of this problem is also production and creative people. We need to be educators as well as people that create content or create the creative part of the marketing objective of our clients. We need to be educators, right? A large part of what Creative Animals does is that we're very transparent in the way the production process is. Even when it comes to quoting the job, when we quote the job, we break it down in itemized lists, and each list is pre-production, production, post-production. And in that pre-production, production, post-production, we further break it down as well with timelines. So what we're trying to do in a nutshell is show our client, like, listen, this is how much time you need for the pre-production part, the brainstorming, conceptualizing, the researching part, the script writing, the storyboarding. This is what we got here. This is how much this costs. This is the production part, which is usually pretty straightforward. I mean, we all know what production is, right? Like, you're going to go have 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe one day on set, maybe a location. You know what the cost implications are of that. And then you have the post-production part, right? So the post-production part is like, okay, I need to do the editing, the animation, maybe there's some, music I need to compose, whatever it may be. And then we break that down as well. So what we're trying to ultimately do with the way we cost the jobs is also educate them on how the process is.
You have to, right?
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of clients know the cost implications, because just because I'm on social media doesn't mean my costs change, right?
And it's to do with the old school lot as well.
There's an old school mentality.
There's no offense there of saying, the old school mentality. You've got the old schools. Okay? You're not old, but let's just put it into context
but there's
of
an
the
old.
past.
I mean, listen, we're not trying to make fun of anyone. This is not like, oh yeah, Billy's 40 years old and he doesn't understand the social media. No, it's not like that. It's
his mindset is set for programming something for a broadcast or a commercial piece.
Absolutely. And that's going to go on television, and automatically we are wired as humans, because of the way things are priced and the way things are created. We are wired that TV is more expensive than social media.
Yeah.
But
it's been around longer.
Yeah, and the gatekeeping of television is a lot more layered than the gatekeeping of social media, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I need to get something onto a television channel, I have to go through a certain number of layers, right? If I want to get something on NBC, I have to go through the sales marketing manager of NBC, who's then got to take it up to his boss, who then has to take it through the compliance, and there's a legal aspect to it. Does it offend anyone? It's not like that on social media, is it? No one's really gatekeeping social media.
It's streamlined, and it makes things way more impatient. And that's a keyword that we'll come to as well, relating to social media.
Yeah.
But if we want to get booked, let's say, we want to get booked by the old school, though. Because they're the ones that are going to come in with good budgets, right? And we can assemble a good team and get a good end result, everything like that. So when you got the new generations that have no connection with that traditional medium, they're going to come to us with what they feel it's worth. We know our worth. They think they know what our worth is, because they see an end result simply uploaded, which is very easy to do that to YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and it devalues it. That's my opinion on it. So we're approached with different budgets.
Yeah.
And then we're also approached with the payment terms, which is something I want to go into in a bit. I don't want to just break that wide open just yet, because there's a lot to discuss there, and I think it's very controversial. And I need to plug in a disclaimer before we go through that as well. Yeah. So before we do go through that,
Okay.
just going to refer to my notes. In this disclaimer, this all is just my personal experience, my personal opinion. Same with Ali, same with anyone else on this show. It is live. We do very, very minimal editing. It's live to Instagram right now. Hello everyone on Instagram Live. So anything that comes out of my mouth will be very rarely reviewed in enough time in my head. So this is my disclaimer. Whatever comes out of my mouth, just remember I ain't going to have that much time to, this is my excuse.
No, don't worry. Listen, let's just talk candidly, right?
Exactly. That's what this platform is for. That's why I've put Sellout Sundays there like this, is so we can have an open discussion, so we can...
And let's be honest, we need to do more of this.
It definitely needs to be done.
You know, sometimes controversial stuff needs to be talked about.
Yep, absolutely.
There is a problem in this industry, and payment terms is one of them. Education is another one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Budgets are another thing.
Yep. And to have these discussions, podcasts are the best. And I know Deer is logged in. Are you still there, Deer? From Create Media. He's got his own podcast, which I've been following.
I know Dia Hassan.
That's the one.
I just started following Dia.
Yeah, they've got their podcast up.
I really like what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of what they're doing, by the way. And I don't want to say this like I'm a hater, but in a way I'm slightly envious because they're just...
You're not doing it?
Yeah, they're just so on the ball.
You need to jump on this bandwagon,
These
mate.
guys are kicking ass, man. Yeah, I'm a big fan of you, Dia. If you're watching this, I'm a big fan of you. I like what you're doing. I like the setup that you guys got. I mean, clearly you're much bigger than Creative Animals, but I like that.
We're sharing the community.
We need more of this
other.
stuff. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
about supporting each other. And this is what I was going back to. We need to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff is really affecting our industry.
Yeah.
And if we don't come together as a unit and stand up for this, for what's right, for legitimacy, then we're just going to get walked over, right?
Yeah, by the powers that be, people with a bit more influence and money, and
because the people that, let's be honest, the people that are holding the money are in control, right? But there needs to be some certain like guidelines, or there needs to be some level of even playing field.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like I'm not a complainer. I'm an optimist. I don't like complaining. I think complaining is a waste of time, but I do truly believe in conversation and dialogue, and this is a very important topic for us to talk about.
Yeah, and that's again, these kind of platforms, why I want to get this done is so we can get some discussion going, get some dialogue going, talk real stuff,
Absolutely.
talk the truth, no BS, and just get straight to the point with stuff that's going on in the industry. Podcasts are definitely the way forward. This is another discussion that Simon and I have had many times, and why we're setting this platform up. So we are offering this format and this production setup for other people. I want to get you more into it because I know you've got a bag of tricks that you're dying to get out and discuss, which we'll churn through now. I think I've gone through my disclaimer enough as it is. I'm going to cut off the IGTV guys now because, it's 10 minutes, so I'm trying to cut that off on there. So if you are watching on Instagram TV now, we will continue this episode on YouTube. So head on over to my YouTube channel and subscribe there if you haven't. We'll get more Sellout Sundays, hopefully on a weekly basis, maybe more, depending on what support I can get for this setup. So head on over there and watch the rest of this over there. And we will also be uploading this to iTunes as a full-length audio.
Carl, you need
podcast.
like a
prompt cards?
No, not a prompt card. You need like some kind of thing that you say. Some branded little, Peter McKinnon, like bash this if you like it. Don't
Name
this
dropping
if you
now,
like that. You need something like that.
What's up?
You need something like that. Something hippie-like. Something that will resonate with your character.
Yeah, man, that's peace. Peace. I don't know. I'm just stereotyping hippies now.
I know. And I'm sorry for bringing up the hippie thing to you. I respect all hippies.
Yeah, I am going in that direction. I'm growing my hair for a reason. You've got long hair too.
Yeah. I like your style, by the way.
These are antennas.
I love it.
If you look at the Native American sort of way of looking at life, they all grow their hair out. It's to connect with the energies as we go.
Oh, no.
Yeah, now we're getting hippie.
We're getting into it.
We'll stop that there. All right, so let's get into the meat of this. So the Sellout Sundays sort of topics that we go through is controversial topics.
Yeah.
Taboo conversations.
Payments.
Which is...
So you were talking about the budget slashing, and you didn't agree with it and stuff. But I would challenge you on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't really care about that.
Budget slashing.
I don't give two shizzles about that.
Okay.
Honestly, I truly don't care. I mean, I do, but I don't, because you know what? Again, I don't like to complain.
Can I throw in a guesstimate there as to why I think you
Go
don't
ahead.
care? It's because whatever the client's budget is, we've got to learn to evolve, adapt, and work with it.
Absolutely. And again, it goes down to this. How much is a dress?
Wife?
How much is a dress, Sasha? Sasha, how much is a dress? Huh? Sorry?
400.
400, but what kind of dress is it?
Exactly. So the taste here hasn't
Right?
broken my
So
bank.
it goes down to this. It's for me, I don't care about the budget. I care about, like, what is the client's vision? And then I ask, what is the budget? You know, I was I can't remember which client it was, but I remember a while back, they said, you know what I like about you, Ali? You didn't come into this meeting, you asked me what the budget was. I said, why should I ask you what the budget is? I want to know first what the hell you want to make. Tell me what you want to make first, and then I'll tell you how much it costs.
Coming from a true creator.
So I think one of the problems also is us. We become the problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
we go in there and be like, oh, I needed 300,000 dirhams. But what the hell are you creating?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we're going on social media and you have 50,000 dirhams to make. I know what you can make with 50,000 dirhams. And I know, sure as shit, you're not going to have a full production team. But hey, if you need a director and a cameraman and some gear and some minimal lighting, I can do it for you. And you know, I'll turn a profit as well. I love those jobs, by the way.
Challenge yourself.
I love those jobs. Why? Because I can turn a bigger profit on those jobs than I can do with the bigger productions. Like, we did that Axe job, and that was not even, that job was not profitable at all. I lost a lot of money on that job, but it was an awesome job to work on.
I have to plug this one because I also
Okay.
worked on it as well. You
Yeah,
hired me. It was
yeah,
a big risk
yeah,
I took because it was
yeah.
my first time being as a production manager, officially, commercially.
Yeah, that was a good job.
We all pulled it off. And if you haven't seen that yet, go to watch Badger featuring Grinny. Is that the right way around?
You Gold.
You Gold.
It's got over like 1 million hits.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's done very well.
Nice.
I mean, I think overall they were pretty happy with it.
Good.
Well,
It's a very nice
Most
video.
people, not everyone.
Yeah.
But there's no name calling here.
Yeah. But go and check out that video. It's very well put together. The whole team were really
Yeah,
good on it.
and just so we plug it in properly, just so people don't think that I just did it by myself.
Yeah, go for it.
That was a collaboration with GKC Media from South Africa.
Yeah.
And the awesome DeWalt brand from South Africa was a director on that job, and he did a kick-ass job with that whole thing. So Creative Animals line produced that. We put together the team. We got the art directors on board. We got you on board. We got so many different players on board, the studio, everything, and it just turned out so great. But to go back to your thing, it's like,
Let's talk about the budget on that.
the budget was, I'm not going to name numbers. I hope you
No,
don't
don't do
mind,
that. No.
but,
There's no need for that.
Yeah, like, it was a bigger job, but the profit wasn't that great. But why did I take that job? I just thought that was a great job for us to put on a reel. It was a great learning experience for everyone. Us being in the industry for like less than a year, to do a job like that was, that was going to put our name out into the market. So sometimes we take those losses because for me, I'm always in the long term. I don't look at the short term. I don't care about money. I know that sounds stupid as a business owner, but I really don't give a crap about money. As long as it makes commercially viable sense for me to do it, I'll do it. My objective in the long term
You mean its usefulness?
Sorry?
Its usefulness, not its materialism.
Yeah, like I mean, I talk to a lot of other business owners, and they're like, "Oh yeah, but like the budgets are slashed, and I can't. I didn't make that much money on this job." And I'm just like, who cares? You're gonna make money if you're good at what you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe that. I truly believe, like, if you're a humble, good person that's not out to cheat someone, and you're really very client focused, the money's gonna come.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a non-corporate approach, I think. If you're a
Yeah.
CEO for a corporation, which is like always taking care of the profit margins, increasing
Yeah.
the profits, stuff like that, and not caring too much about the environment and people and so on like that, you would be a nice person to be put in the CEO position for a corporation, that's for sure.
I don't know if I would be successful. I think there's a certain style of, I mean, there's obviously a new generation of CEOs that are coming out now that are implementing that kind of thinking, but there's also a lot of old school mentality. I have to be an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm not of that mentality, but I truly believe if you're good at what you do, you're very client centric, because we're in a service industry, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're creative people, but we're salesmen and we're service. Like we have to be very good salespeople because we're selling stuff, right? Like we're selling things for our clients using visual mediums and visual tools. And we have to be awesome customer service representatives as well, because we're representing our brands, we're representing our production houses, we're representing our businesses. So I truly believe if you get those two right, then the money will come. So we've been successful with that so far.
That's a great way to move forward with it, especially if you're taking care of an SME or you're just starting out, or if you're a freelancer like me or an independent filmmaker. I've gone down that route of developing a business, giving it a go. I've had a few.
We've had this
failed
conversation
businesses.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
You don't like being a business owner, do you?
I do and I don't. I always find myself going in that direction every single time. I don't know if it's the entrepreneurial mindset or just the certain sets of programming that I've been through during my developing years of going through like success seminars and stuff like that. Whatever it is that I do, I always look at it from a business perspective and try and grow it into that. And then when I look at it when it's got to that stage and gone, I don't want to do this anymore. And I go back to being a creator. You know?
I feel like that too all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's just the common thing that you feel.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's some days I tell my wife, why the hell am I doing this?
Yeah.
I should just go get a job. It's so much easier, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you apply for anything?
No.
No, you didn't go that far.
I would never. I don't think I can
work rain on ever again.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it anymore, to be honest with you.
That's the thing. Once you've tasted that side of the fence.
And that's why I know I'm doing what I love. And that's why I don't care about money.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm doing something I love.
This is interesting. Now we're going to get deeper into this payment thing. I'm going to make that switch over to that.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Because if you're saying in the sense that you don't care about money, I
mean, I do and I don't, obviously.
Right.
Like, the end of the day,
this is where we're going to turn it
bills
out.
to pay, right?
But exactly.
I'm not going to cry over it, right?
Yeah, that's the main point here, is we're not going to get upset about it because, let's face it, we have all been burnt.
Yeah.
Us creators especially strive to make a living and try and primarily create at the same time. When I'm saying about creating content, graphics design, animation, script writing, just general, and the rest. For someone to, let's say, screw us over.
Yeah.
Bad intentions and payments and things like that.
They
exist. Very
exist.
Damaging. It does exist.
Those people are out there.
I've gone through a situation recently.
I know a guy. I won't name his name. Who hired? He set up an agency, and to my understanding, this agency still exists. He hired a team of 10 freelancers, promised them payment. One of them was my friend. A couple of them were my friends, and they just churned away work for him for 3-4 months, and then he just disappeared. Until now, they haven't been paid.
Ouch.
From my understanding, there's court cases against them and whatnot, but.
Yeah, we're going to go a bit deeper into these court cases
so
too.
this guy is disappeared now. And these people exist. They're out there.
I'm going to give you my real life scenario because that's part of my notes I want to go through in this show as well. Is let's go through some real life scenarios. I'm going to open this with you asking me how was my most recent retainer job that I got going. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So how was your most recent retainer job?
I got screwed over. I don't have it anymore.
No.
You remember
how long did it go for?
Well, the initial. Let's go into the whole retainer thing. So I'm going to give you my story. Right?
Okay.
Let's do a bit of story time.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So
I can add in some insight because we have a couple of retainers.
Right. And you know more about that than I do. I gave the retainer avenue a go because I've been told and I've observed that that's the route to go to get some stable income, especially if you're managing a business. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if you're running a business, you need continual revenue streams, right? Like if you have, in my case, creative animals, how do we sustain ourselves? We know that X amount is coming in every month, so we know that we can
plan for it.
We can plan.
Yeah.
We can hire the certain amount of people that we do. We know we can cover our rent. There's office expenses. There's equipment we want to buy and upgrade and stuff. There's licensing that we need to pay for the music, for the software, blah, 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 blah.
There's a whole ton of
There's a
overheads.
laundry list of things as a business that you have expenses for. So retainers offset that.
Yeah.
You know X amount is coming in. You're comfortable.
Yeah.
Anything extra is business development. You bring that in. those up your margins,
Yeah.
those increase your sales, increase your profit, whatever it may be.
And it goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
Providing that those retainers and the contracts that hold those retainers in place are solid enough. So the contracts can also be an issue thing. So we're going to always come back to the whole
Yeah.
payment thing and being burnt. So
Yeah.
I got my two months into that. This is just one of my burnt stories. 2 months into it, which is when I discussed with you originally that I've got this, this contract. It's great. It's for 12
Yeah.
months, and I can really sort of get
12 months.
Yeah,
That's
12.
great retainer.
12 months on paper.
Okay.
On paper, right? On the contract.
That's great. You could forecast your entire year.
And I did so.
Yeah,
and
lovely.
I made the payments and endured the expenses to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started setting things up as before we had our start date on it.
Yeah.
Which happened slightly earlier because they were impatient. The restaurant
Right,
was opening. I'm not going to name drop because I just think it's.
Yeah,
I don't want to brand it, but
Just leave the names out of it.
Yeah, their restaurant is located at the bottom of the wheel. And that's all I'm going to say. Anyone that wants to research it, because as we get further into the depth of this, I want to create awareness. I want other people to avoid these dangers and people with bad intentions.
So what
or
happened?
mistakes. All right, so 2 months into it, they paid for the first 2 months.
Cool.
Right. So those 2 months were covered. That was my term and condition to get the retainer off the ground. I'm not going to sign up with you or you sign up with me unless 2 months deposit is down. So I know you're serious. And
Yeah.
vice versa. 2 months were down. So was the scope of work down. All written down, signed off. Right. Certain amount of deliverables, certain amount of time to be put in it, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so just so your viewers know, I don't know anything about this, right? I'm just hearing this for the first time.
That's why I wanted to bring you on here
Okay,
now.
yeah.
So I wanted to get your reaction.
So I don't know, man. I could side with them. Be careful now.
Good.
I'm just gonna listen.
No, absolutely, because there's one route for this to go
Okay.
officially, and that's to take them to court,
Yeah.
right? To get my money. I want my money that's owed.
Okay, wait. So did you sign a contract for 1 year?
Yes.
Was there a clause in there that said that they can terminate the contract at any time without legal damages?
Not without legal damages, but it did say at any time without reason, but they have to give a 30-day notice.
Did they give you a 30-day notice?
They gave me a notice.
30 days?
Well, they gave it to me, and then they said this is the 30 days from then. That's on email.
Okay.
Right. We won't go too much into the nitty-gritty.
No, I'm just trying to
of that.
understand the
Yeah, yeah.
story. Yeah.
But I was on vacation at the time,
Right.
so I got that message and responded to it immediately. And I was like, if they want those 30 days, go for the 30 days. I didn't agree with it
Yeah.
because the reason wasn't like
How many months
I didn't
into the
agree with the
retainer
reason.
did you go into?
just at the end of the 2 months.
Oh, so at the end of 2 months they decided, boom. Oh.
But the way they saw it from my observation was they paid X amount for 2 months and they wanted 2 months. I was told by a consultant that be careful because at this time of the year, especially with this restaurant's launch date being moved back, which they do because of the construction, putbacks and setbacks and stuff like that, is that they'll try and push for a cancellation because they don't want to pay dead money if they're not passing
Yep,
the work.
that's the problem with the retainers because this is not. I'm sorry to say that, but this is nothing new. This is happening all the time. This just happened to us as well. That's the lovely thing about retainers. That's the horrible thing about the retainers. What does a retainer do for the creative agency? The creative agency gets to forecast their entire plan, their entire growth using that retainer. They know some months you're going to get milked. You're going to do more than the retainer.
I've been told this, yeah.
And other months,
Yeah.
it's going to be so quiet.
But that's then where you make up your losses, right?
Yeah, it balances itself out, right?
Right.
So clients need to understand that. Agencies need to understand that. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes, that's happened to me where I am just doing more than what we costed. And I've done the numbers. I know I say I don't care about the money, but I am obsessed with the numbers. I'm constantly doing numbers. Boom, 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 on my calculator 24/7, which is weird for a creative guy. But when you become an entrepreneur, you kind of realize if you don't know your numbers, you're in deep doo-doo.
You've got to put yourself in all the roles.
So I've done the numbers, and there's times where the retainer doesn't work in my favor. There's a lot of times, actually.
Yeah. Because you get abused, you mean?
Yeah, you get abused a lot. And I don't want to call it abuse. It's kind of just like, it's like a trade-in, right? Like, I know I'm going to get X amount of money for this year for this much. It might be, the margin is a little lower, but at least I'm guaranteed this money, right? Which is what I love about the retainer, because then it allows me to build off of that foundation.
The forecast.
But clients need to also understand that they're not going to be busy all the time,
Yeah.
especially May, June, July, right? Like we know that the market starts dipping, especially in July. No one's here.
Yeah.
Maybe it starts picking up in August. Didn't really pick up in August this year, but kind of.
When we say here, we mean the United Arab Emirates
Yeah.
is where we're currently conducting our business. Yeah.
So the retainer is a funny thing because now a lot of, and this is something I'm noticing as well with a lot of companies, is they're implementing procurement departments. And procurement departments have been a complete offset of the retainer business. Before, the retainer used to be set up. You pay X amount of money to the agency or to the production house, and you get a scope of work. Anything out of scope is added extra, is invoiced or quoted as an extra cost or a third or whatever it is. But then the procurement departments have now started popping up everywhere. And the procurement department now is the answer to the retainer.
Right.
Okay, and this is something I'm noticing is I have to go into pitches now for everything. And I'm getting put up against all these other agencies, like 4 or 5 agencies, and the procurement department's like, okay, well, Creative Animals has quoted us this, Company B has quoted us this, Company C has quoted us this, Company D has quoted us this. What's the best price? And it goes back to my question: how much is a dress, right? How much is a car?
Would you say you're being squeezed?
Yeah, you're being totally squeezed. I mean, how do you put a number on creativity, right? How do you put a number on what I, as a creative individual, have went to school for, and I have, blood, sweat, and tears into this industry, experience into this industry.
The investments that you've made to get to where you are.
All the stuff that I've gotten to, all the awards I've won. I mean, I won hundreds. I'm not trying to brag, but I mean, I've done my time. I've won hundreds of awards, hundreds. I mean, it's so many I can't even put on paper. How do I put that to my client that's looking at his bottom line? I don't. I gotta suck it up.
Would you say this needs to come into that, what you mentioned earlier, educating them?
It's so difficult to compete with a procurement department that doesn't understand what we do, because a lot of these guys are coming and ladies are coming from different backgrounds, coming from FMCG backgrounds, coming from tangible sales backgrounds. They're procuring like jet engines. They're procuring freaking tea bags. They're procuring like all this ridiculous. How do you procure creativity? This is the biggest question that I have for.
It is a good question.
And listen, just so we're clear, I want to make this very clear. My wife is a procurement person, and I have this fight with her all the time. But see, my wife understands because she comes from a production background. So she knows that there's a certain level that you have to, let go of, and there's a trust there, right? Like that's what the show reels are for. That's what the portfolios are there for. That's what the experience is for, right? Like when you're a procurement officer, you don't look at the number. You need to judge the show reel and the work. And then you say, okay, does it cost that much? Or do they add that much value to my business? If they do, pay it. If they don't pay it. It's fine.
Let's go straight to the end result based on that. What would you say is the end result of someone like a procurement department squeezing the agencies for the best price and this, that, and the other? Then that they get the best price, not necessarily the best agency.
9 times out of 10 for us, I don't like arguing with procurement. There's a certain level I can drop. But there's also a certain level that I'm not willing to. Sometimes I get stubborn. I say, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
F this.
Yeah.
And it's happened before.
Yeah.
So we need to understand, and this again, the market is evolving so rapidly, it's scary. But we need to adapt to it, right? And we can't be stubborn all the time. Like a lot of people are coming into this business and they're like, oh well, like BBDO is charging this or whatever. Some agencies, I don't want to name drop, but like this agency's charging 50,000 dirhams for brand development. But like, you can't play with these numbers anymore, right? Like those are old school numbers. Things evolve, things change.
Evolved. Yeah.
It's a saturated market. There's
and
a lot of boutique
services.
Yes, there's a lot of boutique agencies showing up. You have to now contend with freelancers, and there's some damn good freelancers.
Yep.
There's some freelancers that give you turnkey solutions.
Yep, they do everything.
They do everything.
Let's just talk about a project that I was recently on that I thought I was going to get burnt with money there. I just sound like I'm whining, but I'm not. It's a real thing. It's something that we have to up against.
I've been burnt so many times, Carl. I'm telling you.
We'll go into a scenario.
What did I just say off camera? I said I just got hit with a 120-day deferral payment.
Yes,
that is a big kick in the.
That's another one.
You know what?
There's a 30-day, which is what I'm familiar with. Then it evolved to 60, and now you just said to me recently.
Listen, I can do 30. I can do 60. I have 60 with some of my clients. One of our best clients. We have such respect for them. Honestly, they're really. I don't want to name their name, but they're really just awesome clients.
Yeah.
But they hit us with 60 days.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's cool.
Yeah.
I can manage that.
Yeah.
What I can't manage is 120 days. Even the 90-day thing is just ridiculous. That's like
that is a bit
I have
absurd,
to fund your production.
Yeah. And if you don't have the startup capital to cover that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and you get screwed, or you get burnt by someone, you're the one that takes the fall for that.
It's a horrible situation to be in because you have to front the production.
Yeah.
So which means you have to go into your cash flow. And anyone that owns a business knows it's all about cash flow.
Yeah.
If you could sustain your cash flow, you're going to do well in your business.
Yeah.
If your cash flow is all over the shop, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah. And this will make one of them.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I've been in this situation where my cash flow has been effed. It's been shot because I have to fund a client's production. I've been hit with a 90-day, and I don't want to lose the client because I know it's a window to like
that's the
really
thing as well, isn't it?
awesome work and really interesting work. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take this hit. And that's a gamble that we do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing
How many no's
this.
can you say until you stuck with no work?
Well, as a boutique agency, we have to sometimes do it.
Yeah.
I know the bigger agencies don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Like bigger agencies, the 90 days to them is standard. They don't care. But because we're a startup and our cash flow is very important to us. I mean, it's every business, their cash flow is important. But for us, we have to be a little bit more sensitive with it. Sometimes you have to say no. You have to walk away. I've done it before. I've done it, and it sucks to do it. I really hate. It really burns me inside to do it.
To say no.
Yeah, I hate saying.
The most
it's my
successful
biggest
people
weakness.
out there are the ones that learn to say no.
Sorry.
This is what I've been told. The most successful people that are
Is
out
it?
there are the ones that learn to say no.
I'm not successful. You know, my biggest weakness is saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it bites me in the ass.
And it can
sometimes.
get you in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
it's got me in trouble so many times.
Yeah, I recently just did that on a project, and this comes back to the whole being competitive as a freelancer. You get my opinion is we're expected to come on a job with all the gear. Okay, let's talk about 2 cameras, a 2-camera job, 1 person monitoring the 2 cameras, plus you're expected to take care of the audio.
Well, we got Sasha over there monitoring the camera.
And she's doing a great job of it. But let's say she's having to monitor 2, which she is. A mistake could happen, right? Because let's say one camera guy per camera.
Yeah.
Realistically, right?
Yeah.
So you got 2 cameras to manage on a project. You're getting hired for this, and then you also got to do the audio. You're expected to monitor the audio too, right?
Yeah, we have this problem sometimes.
Right, but there are freelancers out there that will also say yes to that because they want the work, they're hungry for it, they need to pay the bills as well. But then at the same time, you're running that risk of making mistakes and putting other people out of business as a result of it, like other audio guys.
Yeah.
You know, this is the thing that Sai and I have had a conversation about as well, is keep the right production components in place, get a good result, and support the creative industry.
Okay, so
There's a balance between it.
I have a slightly different view on that. If you're good enough to do it, I love you as a business owner.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can we hold that just there for any
no
of you
worries.
guys that can actually hear me on here? I know the audio might not be that good because we've not set it up to the mics. But any questions that you've got based on freelance, creative industry, bad payments, being burnt, contracts, anything, any questions, fire them across and we'll read a couple out.
So there's a guy here that says, I so want to be on this convo. So jump in.
You're in it, man. You're in it. What's his name?
Ask.
Me Theme Parks. Me Theme Parks. Okay.
Do it up.
Okay, hi, Me Theme Parks. Give us some questions you might have, and we'll say it over the so many. He says, so many. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Yeah, let's bring some of your questions in on this.
Yeah.
But carry on with your.
I have a different point of view on that. If you can do it, I love you as a business owner for it, because sometimes I'm put in situations where I can't hire a sound guy or I can't hire a second cameraman, and sometimes I have to jump behind the camera. That's the reality of it. And honestly, I don't have an ego. You know this about me. You've worked with me. I mean, I get right up in there and I'm just like, here, give me the camera, I'll do it.
Got to get it done.
Don't care, I just got to get it done.
Yeah.
I don't have an ego about it, so I just do what the job entails. Sometimes I have to sacrifice a little, but there's a balance there. If I know I can get away with it, I'll do it. If I'm gonna do a 1 hour documentary and I don't have budget for a sound guy, I'm in deep doo-doo,
Yeah.
right? If I'm gonna do an interview, like I've been commissioned to do an interview, I'm gonna need a sound guy, right? Like it's a corporate video, the sound needs to be on point, right?
And if you push for that
Yeah.
and educate them
Yeah.
that that's a component that
Yeah.
needs to be a part of the production, but you still don't get it.
Yeah, then that just puts me in a really horrible position. I would probably fund it from my pocket, to be honest with you.
Right, that's
Sometimes I do that.
Mm.
Yeah, sometimes I do that. Because the way that I see it is like we have a certain quality, a certain standard. And this is something I've been preaching about Creative Animals for a really long time, is that like the one thing I never wanted to do is be about money and hinder my quality.
Yeah.
So sometimes what I've done, and I did it with the other job, is I just bite the bullet and just take it out of my pay just to make a better product. I don't do it all the time, but if the project means a lot to me and it means I can put it on my show reel, I see it as an investment.
That's what I say. When you say when it means a lot to you, what do you mean by that?
If it's something that I truly believe in and the creative vision is aligned with our vision and it's something I can put on my show reel and show off later and use it to generate more business, then I think that that's an investment, and you need to look at it from that mindset.
And when you do look at it from that mindset, what things do you look for to make that decision?
What do you mean?
So if you get a project that's in
Yeah.
front of you and the budget's slashed, but you're still going to take it and you're going to
Yeah.
invest in it yourself, what makes you decide to go ahead with that? What sort of things do you look for? Is it worth it? Am I going to get business later from this?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is it worth it? Am I going to use it to get more business? So for example, we just did a job. We don't 80 to 90% of our business is content creation, but because of my advertising background, we do a lot of brand development, and we do a lot of brand building. We do a lot of events, and we also do a lot of shopper marketing. So I was just asked for a quotation on a job, brand development job, and the budget wasn't that great, and I decided to outsource it to a friend of mine in Qatar who, like, literally, they live and breathe this crap. Like, they do this every single day, and they do an awesome job at it. And I said, you know what? I just want to do an awesome job at it. I don't care too much about the money. What I want to do is I want to impress this client, because this client is going to open me to an entirely new sector that I have not penetrated yet, which is the hospitality sector, the hotels management sector, the hotel business sector. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna cut my profit off of this, but I'm gonna give it to this guy because I know that this guy has an agency. They live and breathe this stuff. They do it every day. I want to impress the socks off this guy, this new client. I'm gonna take this much money instead of that much money, but I know that they're gonna be super effing impressed about it, and they're gonna give me more business off of it. So there's always opportunities and stuff. You just have to find them.
And approach it in the right way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like you got to be witty and a bit smart with when you make that decision.
I think a lot of people are concerned about money.
Yeah.
I see it a lot on forums and blogs, and that UAE freelancer thing. Everyone's just always bitching about the money.
Everyone,
what is that?
Everyone back behind cameras is laughing here.
Yeah.
because-
What are you talking about? The budget's horrible. Quit whining.
Yeah, it is straight to that, isn't it? Talk about
Someone out there needs that money.
Yeah,
And someone
gets
out
it.
there, listen, people need to understand, your expenses are not like my expenses, are not like his expenses, are not like her expenses. Yeah. Everyone lives a different kind of lifestyle.
Yeah,
And budgets are not going to always be the same.
yeah,
So there's always someone that's going to do that. Quit your whining.
yeah.
Okay. This goes to freelancers too.
Quit your whining on
Freelancers
UAE
need
media
to stop.
freelancers.
Like, I get this all the time because I hire so many freelancers. It's like, oh, but the budget's hard. Do you want the job or
Or not, right.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
so transparent with everyone I hire. I said, listen, brother, this is the money. This is what I can afford. And I'm very giving. When I can give, I give. And when I can't give, I just can't give, right? Like, at the end of the day, we sit down with our finance guy and he's like, Ali, this is the budget. This is what we need for our margin to keep our cash flow. You can play with this much.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I'm usually
transparent with it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm very transparent with it. I'm super transparent with it. Everyone knows that when they deal with me, this is what I have. take it or leave it. And they're like, okay, or no, I'm not going to do it. And that's fine. You could say no. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to get hurt about it. And I never do. I have great relationships with all my freelancers. And they've said no to me a lot. Because sometimes it's unreasonable. I mean, I just had it this week where I quoted like 3 times on a job, and they just like, oh, keep going lower, keep going lower, keep going back to freelancer. I wanted to hire him for photography. I said, so what's the lowest you can go and still be happy with taking this job? And he said, oh, man, come on. And I said, I'm sorry, man. This is the way it is. This is what's happening. But this is what it is. So what's the lowest you can go? He said, this is what I can go. I can go X amount. Fine, I'll go. And I don't even add a margin on top of that because at this point, it's just ugly. And we still don't get the job. It happens.
Well, I can vouch for you. I just remember the project you booked me for, and my until a couple of days ago, my services and packages were exactly the same. I didn't evolve and I haven't adapted, but you actually paid extra then in order to meet my lowest. What I would be happy to go down to.
What was that? Gallery Lafayette? No.
I don't know. I don't remember which one it was. There's many, but you've always gone above and beyond to sort of put it into out of your own pocket. Because you don't want to drop below that standard. But
we're very about, like, our ethos is all about quality.
Yeah. And so it should be.
Yeah.
Because in the end, when that final video is done or that final piece of content is handed over to the client and something goes wrong or something, you're not going to be able to blame them then because of their budget. You were the one that accepted it.
Yeah.
And this is why you've got to evolve.
Accountability, right?
Exactly. You're the one that is responsible in the end. And that's why I've recently had to adapt my services. I've had to sort of change my packages, what I'm offering. And
that, you know what? I commend you for it. Good job. Honestly. You can't be in this industry and expect 2015, 2014 rates, and we're in 2018. The market is more saturated. The competition is so stiff.
Yeah, it's getting higher, isn't it?
The budgets are completely slashed.
Yeah.
And if you want to survive in this industry in Dubai, you better start looking at how you approach your business, because if you're not flexible, no one's going to give 2 F's about you.
Yeah.
Because they'll find someone else that is.
Easily.
Yeah.
There's 5 more people at the door waiting already.
Yeah. And hey, I've done it so many times. I found so many freelancers that I'm like, hey, this guy's giving me half the rate I was paying with this guy, and he's 10 times better. Or, hey, you know what? This guy listens to me, doesn't argue with me, doesn't have an ego. His rate's about the same as the other guy who argues with me and gives me ego. I'm going to work with this guy, you know? Humility, accountability, and just being able to evolve. I think if you're in this industry looking for money and only money, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, it's short-lived, isn't it?
Very.
That's a pro tip that I've come across quite a lot, is if you're in it for the money, it's very, very short term. You're not going to get very far with it. But if you're in it for the relationship, you're in it for everything else that's legit, that's genuine, the money will come.
Yeah,
I've been told this so many times.
And listen, clients, they're human too, right? Like, if you go a little bit extra for them, they don't, trust me, they know that stuff. They see it, and they will come back to you again. And I think that's an important thing.
Yeah. Referrals.
When it comes to your rate, you need to be flexible.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, budgets are not that great.
I think it's always going to be like this, though. If we were having this same conversation 10 years ago, we would be having a very, very similar conversation that 10 years before, that the budgets were different. It's always fluctuating. So I think the key thing here
evolution.
That's the key thing, is to evolve.
Clients are more educated, but they're not educated. They understand a little bit about production, but they don't understand the timeline of production. Yeah. They understand that they need social media videos, but they don't understand that a social media video could cost as much
as a commercial piece.
TVC. So there's a little bit of education, but there's still a bit of ignorance. Yeah. And I don't say that offensively. I just say that as like, that's just an observation.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a good word to use. I mean, ignorance is a key word there. But then again, it comes back to what you were saying at the beginning of this episode, is education. Yeah. It is partly our responsibility as creatives to educate our clients.
110%.
Before they've signed the check and the contract.
110%. I think clarity is really important. A lot of people jump into contracts. Even us, we've done it before in the past. We've been bitten in the ass by it. Clarity is so important before you start a job. We just did a pitch with one of our clients, and we have a very good relationship with them. We won the pitch. We were awarded the work, but an LPO was never released. And an LPO, for those that don't know, is a purchase order. So it basically legally binds you to the job.
What's the L stand for?
I think it's licensed or legal purchase order.
Okay.
Licensed purchase order. But anyway, we see a PO, purchase order.
Yeah.
So we won this pitch, and I hope my client doesn't mind me talking about this. Anyway, we have a very good relationship with them. But
Speaking on general terms.
Yeah, I'm speaking general. We won the pitch. They were super happy with our creative. We had put this 125, 150 page proposal, creative proposal. They loved it. They loved the storytelling behind it. They said, hey, great, you won the pitch. Let's just move forward with it. I said, you know what? We have a great relationship. Let's just start. We'll get the LPO. Because LPO processes, for those that don't know, it's a process. Like, it just takes days. I don't know why this one piece of paper takes like days to create, but it does. It's got to go up and down the bureaucratic chain, approvals and whatnot.
And then something to throw into the mix there that can create complications is waiting for the LPO to come through, but the job needs to start yesterday.
Yeah, and that's okay. So I'm going to get to that in a second, but we basically now don't start a job without an LPO because we've been burnt. I know that that's kind of like fundamental for a lot of people out there. They're like, well, you're stupid. Why did you start a job without an LPO? Yeah. That's just dumb. It is dumb. No doubt about it. It's dumb.
Yeah.
But
you're not thinking that at the time.
No, because
I want the job.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I used to be a bartender. I used to be a waiter at a restaurant. I used to do all this service-oriented stuff. So for me, being very service-oriented, being very customer-focused, that's so important to me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the customer always right?
No. The customer is not always right.
Okay.
I fundamentally believe that. It's why they hire us. We need to be their partners in crime and sort stuff out for them.
Nice.
They're not right. If they're right, they don't need us. Yeah. But anyway, I truly believe in that. So yeah, I shouldn't have started the LPO. I shouldn't have started a job without the LPO. My fault. I put my hand up. Stupid move. Even my wife told me, you're an idiot for doing that. I said, I know I'm an idiot for doing it, but you have to understand that I have had this relationship with this client for over a year and a half now.
Right.
They've literally been putting food on the table for us. So, and their deadline is 3 weeks from now, and there's a crap ton of work to do.
So you're making exceptions.
So I'm like, you know what? I have a good relationship with them. Let's just do the job. LPO's coming. I've had millions of LPOs from them. I just did my numbers yesterday. And I'd say about half of our business has been funded by this client. So, I mean, I'm not going to not start the job because I didn't get the LPO. Stupid move, I know, but I did it. About a week into the work, we'd already been working in parallel by costing the job and working on the creative because there was a lot of changes from the pitch deck. So whilst we were changing all the creative work from the pitch deck, because there was a lot of like, we don't like this kid, we want this kid, we don't like this, we don't like this. Okay, whatever. At the same time, in parallel, I was working on costing the job. I costed this job 5 times, and I just wasn't getting it right with the procurement department. They're just like, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. It's like, listen, man.
Was that one of those ones I threw my costs in there as well?
I think you did have a cost in there.
That's probably why they were high.
No, I think you had the live stream in there or something. I can't remember.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's high.
Well, we killed that quickly in the first round because they simply couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But we costed the job about 4 times, and in the end, it just got to a level with procurement and the brand manager that it was just getting really. I want to use my words very carefully here.
Think about it.
It was just getting very tricky for everyone. Because, butts were on the line. Obviously, the brand manager was having a lot of pressure. She needed to deliver this event. And she couldn't have dropped the ball, right? I totally get that. I mean, I don't fault her for it. I have nothing but respect for her. The procurement department's on pressure because here they are trying to negotiate with me, but they got like 3 other quotations that are like from, I don't know who, but apparently they're like half the rate of us. And from us, we're very in tune with the market. We're constantly checking market rates. We're constantly speaking to our friends. We have a lot of friends in different industries. So we're always trying to stay level with the market. And if we can drop a little just to win the job, we do, because 9 times out of 10, you win the work from cost. We just weren't getting it right with procurement. And so they said, listen, we're not going to do the production with you, but we're going to buy your creative. And anyone that knows, production's where you make your money. So all of a sudden we had a great markup, and then we were just left with like bones. Can
I throw a real life scenario in there, just because I want to start seeing how your brain is working and what sort of discussion we can get from this. So you get an LPO, right? Yeah. You've got your LPO.
Well, we didn't get an LPO there.
Not in this situation. But let's say
I did the job without an LPO and I got burnt for it. So moral of the story is, don't do work without an LPO, even if it's your client that you love and adore. Because I love my client, I adore them, but I got bit.
Right. That's something worth covering here, because even if you do decide to go down that route where you're in the negotiation stage, you end up signing the job or doing the job without the LPO. Yeah. So you've got no legally binding paper to secure yourself, but you do the job anyway. Your client you've been working with for the past 10 years, you feel that you've got this relationship with them, you're not going to get burnt. So you take that decision and go for it. But things change in their team. People change, new people come on, you get burnt. After a 10-year client that you thought you couldn't possibly ever get burnt by, you didn't get that LPO this one time because you thought it'd be cool, and that relationship is done. The 10-year relationship is done and dusted for that one time of payment. So it's coming down to the money, right? It's burnt you, you've taken a loss for it, and the relationship is, in the grave now. What do you do in that situation?
If you've lost a client, you've lost a client. There's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Cry over spilt milk? It happens. Listen.
I'll have a damn good cry for sure.
No, listen, it sucks. I'll be honest with you. When we lost that job, I think I went into a slight depression for about a week. And I know my wife noticed it, because she's like, listen, you got to stop letting this eat you up. And I was, for me, I'm just so passionate about what I do. I truly believe in the product that I'm offering to them. And it really sucked to lose. It really sucked to lose. It sucked to lose that job. It sucked to not be able to make my client happy, because I've been doing it for so long. And I think also at the time, and just by fate, a lot of other stuff was happening. Like other clients were not happy with things, and we were losing a retainer at the time as well. And
doubting.
We had another job as well that we did, and we didn't get paid for it. And there was a conflict there, and they're like, we're not going to pay for it. And so all this was kind of like snowball effect.
And you get a bit chapped as well, a bit hurt that relationship time has just gone to nothing.
Yeah, it does. And then you start questioning, like, oh my God, do they really even care about me? And I think the one thing that I learned from that was that, like, you don't have to beat yourself up too much. Clients will be clients. At the end of the day, they have a business they have to run, right? Yeah. You're a partner, but you're not a family member. Yeah. I know we like to say, oh yeah, well, they're family. Yeah. Because that's kind of like the emotional intrinsic value that we associate with our clients to make them feel better.
And it's a relationship in the end.
Yeah, it is a relationship, but you need to understand it's a professional relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's not your girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's not your wife.
Yeah.
You don't have to go and give her flowers every day. So I think that was a lesson I took from that job, is that, it's good to be very service oriented, but we got to also be careful. You can get burnt. And listen, when you get burnt, you could lose that client forever.
And others.
There's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it.
Losing the client.
There's nothing wrong with it. It happens. It's a learning experience. If you've lost a client, there's probably a reason why you've done it. Unless you're an idiot and you messed something up. But
it could be usually a balance between all of them. It could be that. It could be all of it. It could be both.
Yeah.
So let's throw another scenario, and there's something that I'm recently going through myself. Is, let's say you do have a legally binding piece of paper or contract in place for something. Yeah. You've still and then you get burnt. You're owed money, right? It's a situation at the moment where I am owed a significant amount. Yeah. And what do? I seek legal counsel.
Yeah. Okay? What did they say?
Well, they're a legal counsel. I go to court. First thing they said. Obviously,
so
they
go to court.
investigate.
No one wants to be. Listen, no one wants to be in court.
Okay, no one wants to be in court, but to get there, you got to pay money as well, right?
I know. That's the reality.
So you lost money and you got to pay more money.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get more money.
To get more money.
Yeah.
So what do? Write it off?
Did you turn that off?
Live video's ended.
Okay. I have 10 times out of 10 written it off. I don't like courts, and I don't like paying money for courts.
Me too. It doesn't make
Chalk
sense.
it up to a loss and move on, I think. But listen, there's a lot of stubborn people out there. One of my friends is currently in a court case. She refuses to let it go. She's put copious amounts of money into this court case, but she truly believes that she's right. So, you can't fault her for that.
Okay. On that note,
There's just one advice I would do.
Yeah.
If you want to streamline the court process, something that we do, you can put a clause in your contract or your quotation or your whatever it is that you give to your client that all disputes will be settled in the DIFC courts.
Was it me that told you that?
No.
Oh.
Did you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I got advised to do that
I've been
by someone.
I've been advised by that by a very, very amazing lawyer who's in our industry. He works for a big multinational corporation here that has about 14 different agencies under them. Lovely Lebanese guy. He's the one who told me about that. And he said, listen, you want to streamline your process, you want to cover your ass, do this. Just put this one line, one clause in there.
Yeah,
It's like all
that's what I
disputes will
was
be
told.
settled in the DIFC courts, and you're golden. They have an amazing process that streamlines the entire legal process.
And it's all in English.
It's all exactly, yes. That's the biggest problem, isn't it? Everything has to be translated to Arabic.
Arabic.
That's another added cost.
Yeah.
And then there's like all this. There's just so many layers upon layers. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to speak Arabic and understand.
And that helps a lot, right? Here, being
Yeah,
in the
but
Arab
I
world.
want to say I'm like the Arab aficionado. Like I don't understand Arabic like most of these guys. And this is lawyer speak too, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to understand half the words that you use.
Let's touch on that a second, because there's a lot of conversation that goes around when we talk about courts and we talk about those sort of proceedings in the Arab world. Is the court process is prehistoric. I've heard that word a lot. That it's in the Stone Ages. It's not up to date, but I think it is. But I think what I've noticed is.
Have you ever been in court here?
I have, yes.
I've never been in court.
Okay, no,
I
I
can't
have.
really add value here.
Right. Okay. I'm not going to go too much into detail
Yeah.
of my dealings with the authorities, but
Yeah.
you know.
I can't add value here, so I don't know anything about courts. I know that.
But it's the translation process. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I know that that's a big hurdle.
And with the English language, and for any of you out there that have got anything to add to this, but from my understanding, the English language is designed in such a way to manipulate words to the benefit of someone else. Not entirely. The English language has other reasons for being there, of course, but it works very well in court. And you can change words around to suit a cause or an agenda. And when you convert that same process of a legal proceeding into another language, that effect is no longer there anymore, I believe.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's what contributes towards taking a lot of time. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this back on YouTube? You guys and the viewers, let us know what your opinions are on this topic in the comments, because it is an interesting discussion to have. I want to come back to the contract thing, because this does go into court. So you've outlined your scope of work. You've outlined everything that you possibly can do, including the DIFC clause that's in there, everything you've been advised by a legal counsel. But then something still goes wrong, and you still have a legal piece of paper here to do with what you want, with no guarantee you're going to win, with no guarantee that you're going to come out, squeaky clean on the other side. But in my case, I want to take it to court. I don't have the funding to do it. If anyone wants to fund me to get through that, no, I'm serious.
Save your money.
I'm serious. If there is anyone out there, I want to follow through with a scenario. I want to follow through with a process to see what actually happens.
Have you spoken to a lawyer?
Of course I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
and
did they say?
they've given me the great advice that I've got a great case.
Yeah.
I've got a contract that's legally binded.
So my understanding
I've got
is,
email communication that shows in digital form that I'm owed something.
Yeah.
But do you know what's happened?
What?
Communication has gone zero. Radio silence.
From their end.
Of course, from their end.
I think that's standard, man. That happens a lot.
What, they don't want to deal with it anymore?
Well, I think they're just hoping you just give up.
I ain't giving up, right?
So you're
just
like
go.
my stubborn friend.
Right, let's just go through
move
this.
on.
I've been burnt so many times before
Yeah.
that I've written it off. I've been whatever. There's more to life than getting caught up on this. You're only
Yeah.
going to attract more bad shit, right?
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you do. So this one time, I promise
So,
myself.
Carl, I would just say to you right now, if you're really adamant on going after this, why don't you just try going physically to their place? I've done that a lot of times, by the way. I've physically gone.
She hasn't heard. She can't really hear this, but I look for my wife's reaction to when you said that.
Yeah.
You know what we did?
What did you do? Yeah, and
One of their employees, so they work from their residence address.
okay.
That's where they do all their operations. That's where I conducted all my business, so I don't know any different. But the restaurant isn't launched yet, so that's where they're doing their business. All the communication stopped. Now, you guys are going to find this hilarious if you continue listening to the rest of the story.
Yeah.
That we decided, you know what, grow some balls, go down there and see what's up.
Let's just see.
Knocked on the door. Someone that I didn't know had answered it, and I asked for the guys that are there. Is so-and-so here? No. Is so-and-so here? No. And then the final person, the GM of the company, the real one that was causing problems and just a disconnect and lying and all these other things, he was there. So I said, can I come in? And he said, yeah. But if the other dude, the GM was there and answered the door, probably, I don't know, would have shut the door or something else. But we went in. I was like, yo, what's up? I'm here for my money, basically. I'm going to cut the crap because you've been ignoring me and you've been doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And, it just fed more lies. Oh, I'm trying to speak to the owners, and he's had weeks to speak to the owners.
Right.
Probably has already. I don't know what the agenda is there. Okay, so I said, look, from man to man, let's
Excuse me.
have some respect here. Like, keep the communication open until we resolve something. I don't know what your plan is. Are you still intending to pay? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to speak to the owners. Before, you told me that you wanted to pay and that there was an amount of that 30 days termination period to pay.
So
off.
why don't you just... my experience is very limited on this. I can't really offer too much insight on this, but what I've seen work in the past is when you serve court papers to someone that owes you money, 9 times out of 10 they act, and they act quickly.
Yeah? So I spoke to my legal counsel. She put together a formal a legal letter, stating all the implications and what we're going to do if it doesn't, what I'm owed, and their infringements in the contract. Just to remind them. It wasn't aggressive. She sent it to them, and we got no reply. But when we actually spoke to them over the phone, they acknowledged that they received it. I'm going to pass it to the owners and get back to you. Going to get back to you, going to get back to you, going to get back to you. Nothing. So you want to know a funny story now?
This is a horrible, freelancer story, man.
Dude, it's killing me inside, but I am not going to stop. So let me just do a little plug here.
Yeah.
Anyone that's watching, anyone that's engaged in this discussion and willing to support, I'm going through this. I don't have the funds to sort of take it to court. I don't want to write it off. I want to use this as an opportunity to document the process, to share with you every step of the way to see what the process is and hope that it's a case that I can win. I've been told I got a strong case.
Yeah.
Later on, or in the description and below, I can go more into detail about the case itself. But if anyone's willing to support it, I'll put a Patreon link or a PayPal link to get any sort of
are you going down that
support.
road?
No, dude, I want the public to see if they're willing to support me. Anyone that's willing to sort of see this through.
Can I be honest with you? I would
document.
just let go of this.
I'm not going to. I'm
Really,
not going to because I want to
You're
make a point.
stubborn,
Yeah,
man.
I want to make a point of this. I've been burnt so many times, and I
Yeah.
promised myself the next time that it happens that has
See,
bad
I think-
intentions.
I would just let go because that's just bad karma for me. It happens, man. Listen, it happens a lot in our industry. The reality is that I'm sorry to say this to you, and I know this is not scripted or anything. So
Nothing scripted on the show.
yeah, I know, and you're probably not going to like hearing this, but as a friend, and you know me, I'm a very honest and transparent person. I think you should just let go of this, because the reality is this is going to eat you up inside. It's going to bring a lot of negative energy to you, and it's just money, man. You're going to make more money.
You know me.
I know you.
You know me,
but,
and
like,
you'll
I'm
also
just-
know that I'm going to turn this around and turn it into a
and
way where it's...
There's just one thing I forgot to mention is that the reality is, and this goes for every single freelancer, is the laws don't support freelancers. They support companies.
True that.
And that's the reality of the situation. Because when I was a freelancer,
That makes me want to make more of a point of it, by the way.
I know. And that's maybe, hey, I wish you luck, honestly. Like,
And if
maybe
I get
it
the
does.
support,
Maybe it does.
If I get the support that I need for this to follow it
Yeah.
through, covering expenses and stuff like that, I will document it. And because I've got a platform like this,
Yeah.
and I have the ability to document and share the
I think
updates.
I think a lot of our problems can be solved with communication.
Communication is key. Now I'm going to go into that funny part of the story.
Yeah.
The funny part of this story, right, is we go down to a restaurant awards. my wife just wanted to go down there and socialize and hang out. And I got ready, and on the way there, I thought, these guys are going to be there, aren't they?
It's the restaurant.
It's the industry.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, they were there.
Oh boy.
What would you do if you saw them across the room and communication was dead?
I mean, I'm a different guy than you.
Give me your straight answer.
Honestly, I just wouldn't give a crap.
You'd leave it and go to the bar.
I don't drink, but I just would say hi and move on with my life. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction knowing they got to me. Honestly, I'm being so honest with you.
I just wanted a communication. That's all I wanted.
I don't hold grudges. I don't get angry at things. I mean, you know me, man. Like, we've had our differences. We've been in fights. We've not always seen eye to eye on things, but I don't hold grudges. I just don't care. I have a way of thinking that maybe not a lot of people agree with, and even my wife doesn't agree with it. But if I saw them at the restaurant awards and I was in a situation you were in, I would just say hi and move on. I'm not a spiteful and resentful person.
Shall I leave this as a cliffhanger?
What would you do? What did you do?
Stay tuned for the next episode.
What did you do?
I went up to them.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Punched him in the face. No, I'm only kidding.
No. Oh my God.
You feel like you want to do that inside.
I don't believe you would punch anyone in the face.
Of course not.
Too much of a hippie.
Yeah. Violence is not the way to resolve anything.
Well, sometimes you need violence.
Well, your alpha male has got to come out into you if that's connected. But sometimes I tapped him on the shoulder, mate.
Yeah.
Ignored me.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, guys, I hope
you're
there's
really
nothing...
fired up about this, eh?
I am. That's why I wanted to get you on the show and uncover this topic, because it's a real life scenario. It's real life that I can share that just
it's bugging you.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Just you're allowed to feel those emotions.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with those emotions.
I'm going to get a bit emotional about it. I want my money.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with those emotions. But anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted communication. That was the main thing. When there's radio silence, it gets really annoying. It's like, where's the respect? Where's the integrity? Have some compassion. I did the work. Then, okay, there's always two sides to the story. You might think that I did something that was wrong, or you don't want to pay for, or shouldn't have to pay for.
Well, I think that's where communication comes to
Talk to me about it.
Absolutely.
Open communication. Don't go silent. Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, we're all busy, man. We're all busy hustling. Just have some respect and talk about it. But anyway, nice little bit of drama. I think we're going to close this off. We'll keep this on YouTube. How long has it been?
More than an hour.
More than an hour. It's a conversation that Ali and I had earlier on this episode about supporting the creative community. So Simon Charles is sound in Dubai. You can find him online. He's a great location sound recordist. He's doing the sound for this podcast now. For all productions, you need good sound, hence why I have...
100%.
Exactly. Hence why I've collaborated with Simon on this one. So thank you very much. Go make sure you check him out and hire him for your next audio job, and support the local and creative community as much as we can. I'm producing this show completely out of my own pocket, so you guys can receive free content on YouTube and online to download. So I'm actually pledging and reaching out for support and sponsorship. So if there are any brands out there that would like to or think this show has value, or would like to support me on this show, it'd be a great help. The funding will go towards things like increasing production, making sure the quality of the production is always maintained or increased.
And talking about real live stuff that's happening in our industry. I think that's super important. I like this. I like this. I support you.
So I can get you on the show again?
I'd love to be on the show again.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's good. I'll definitely have you on the show.
I support what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. What other plugs
we need
have I
more
got
of
to do?
this.
Yeah, we do.
We do. I see the create media guys doing this stuff. I'd like to do some of this stuff. I just don't have time for it.
Well,
yeah.
That's why you got friends like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
To influence you into making the time for it, which you have today. So I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, Ali.
It's my pleasure.
Discussing these taboo points. I'm hoping they're not.
They shouldn't be taboo, by the way. I don't like when you say they're taboo. They're not taboo.
I'm just dramatizing.
We shouldn't tabooize them. Is that a
bit.
word? Tabooize them? No,
it is
not.
now. It is now. That could be my key thing.
These are real life
That's
issues
my
that
slogan
need
word.
to be discussed. Tabooize.
Tabooize.
Yeah.
I'll write that one down. See, I have my notepad here. Tabooize. Probably not spelled that right. Anyway, the hippie says tabooize.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome.
I did this at the expense that my wife's gonna whip my ass into shape now, but hey, sometimes.
Well, she'll be watching this now, and she'll fully understand why you were late.
Anyway.
Okay, so yeah, download the podcast. We will be putting this to iTunes and SoundCloud, and you're probably watching this on YouTube now. So any questions that you might have, put them in the comments. Let us know. I will put these questions into the next show. We will be doing more shows like this. If you only just joined us now for episode 3, 1 and 2 will be in the YouTube card. I think it's either here or here, so you can watch that. Thank you to Nadine and Shabal again for coming on as guests for those. I welcome anyone else for the future. So if you've got any suggestions or topics that you'd like me to cover, or you'd like to come on the show, let me know. I'll be more than happy to hear from you. My email address is in the description as well if you're watching this on YouTube. And I think we are going to end it there. So
cool,
again,
man.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.